Howdy, friend. Welcome back to Feed Bandit, the Texas First Outdoors podcast. Spitz here helping out my fellow bandits with this episode. As always, my flawed yet fun human hunting partners, either Jimmy or Richard, have edited the contents of this one so you can rest assured it ain't slop. It's just here to educate and entertain. And if you disagree with anything, hell, just blame it on Jimmy, the least seasoned outdoorsman and entertainer of the two. But I digress. When late summer finally starts to give way to those first sweet breezes of early fall, there is an itch that every outdoorsman across the Lone Star State starts to feel in their fingers. You look out over the dry sunflowers, the cut milo fields, and the dusty ranch roads, and you start listening for that unmistakable whistling sound of fast wings overhead. Mourning doves are the ultimate warm-weather game bird down here in Texas. They fly fast, they turn on a dime, and they can make even the best wing shooter look like an absolute beginner if he is caught off guard. A lot of folks head out to the pasture, sit on a bucket next to an old mesquite tree, and just hope a bird flies close enough to take a shot. We call that pass shooting, and while it can be a lot of fun, you are mostly relying on luck and burning through a whole box of shotgun shells for just a couple of birds. But if you want to take your dove hunting to a whole new level, you have to learn how to bring the birds straight to you on your own terms. You have to master the art of decoying mourning doves. When you put out a smart, realistic spread of fake doves in the right spot, you stop being just a bystander sitting in the weeds. You become a master caller without ever making a sound. You turn those wild, high-flying rockets into calm, gliding targets that lower their legs and float right in front of your barrel at 20 yards. Today, we are going to dive deep into the specific strategies, gear setups, and field positioning you need to build the ultimate dove spread. We will cover why doves react so strongly to fake birds, how to use motion to catch their sharp eyes from half a mile away, and the exact step-by-step layout tricks that will turn your hunting spot into the popular hangout in the county. So pull up a chair, grab a cold drink, and let's talk dove hunting. To understand why decoying works so remarkably well on mourning doves, you have to think about how these little birds live out in the open pasture. Doves are deeply social animals that spend almost their entire lives in flocks. When a dove is flying across a big open field looking for a bite to eat or a cool drink of water, it feels nervous. Up in the sky, it is completely exposed to red-tailed hawks, falcons, and sudden weather shifts. A dove is constantly scanning the horizon with its sharp eyes, looking for other doves. When a traveling bird sees a group of its buddies sitting down on a fence line or pecking away at seeds on bare dirt, its brain immediately sends a signal that says two very important things. First, there is good food or clean water down there, and second, it is completely safe from danger. Doves trust other doves more than anything else in the woods. If they see a group sitting calmly in a patch of ground, they do not hesitate for a second. They will instantly bank their wings, drop out of the high wind currents, and glide straight down into that exact spot. By placing fake decoys on the ground, on fence wires, and up in the air, you are recreating a natural, peaceful scene that tricks their survival instincts and draws them right into your shooting lane. Let's break down the technical strategies and specific tips you need to execute a world-class dove decoying setup on your property. My first big tip for you is to harness the game-changing power of motion with a spinning wing decoy. If you only use static, hard plastic decoys that stay completely still, a bird flying high in the sky might not notice them until it is already past your field. But a motorized decoy with spinning black and white wings creates a constant, flashing motion that catches the sunlight and flashes across the pasture like a lighthouse beacon. A traveling dove can spot that wing flash from hundreds of yards away. To use a spinning wing decoy correctly, place it on a tall metal stake right in the center of where you want the birds to land, which we call the landing pocket. Make sure the decoy is facing directly into the wind. Doves always land into the wind because it acts like an air brake to slow their bodies down before their feet touch the ground. When an incoming bird sees that spinning flash facing into the breeze, it will line itself up with the decoy and come sailing right past your position on a straight line. My second tip is to use the natural perching structure of fence lines, dead trees, and dummy wires. Doves naturally hate landing directly in thick, tall grass where a stray cat or a bobcat could be hiding in the shadows. Before a dove ever drops down onto bare dirt to eat seeds, it almost always lands on an elevated perch first to look around and make sure the coast is clear. Look for old rusty barbed wire fences, metal T-posts, or dead mesquite limbs along the edge of your field. Take 4 or 5 clip-on full-bodied dove decoys and clamp them directly onto the top wire of the fence or onto bare, leafless tree branches. Space them out about 2 or 3 feet apart, making sure they are pointed in different directions so they look like a relaxed group of birds resting in the sun. Having fake perching birds up high on a fence wire gives incoming doves massive confidence that the feeding spot below is completely safe. If you are hunting a big, wide-open field that does not have any fences or dead trees, you can build your own perching setup by sticking a long fiberglass pole in the ground with a thin crossbar at the top, hanging your clip-on decoys right up in the open air where every bird in the sky can see them. My third tip is to construct a realistic ground-feeding cluster on bare, dusty soil. Once you have your high-flying motion decoy set up and your perching birds clamped onto the fence wire, you need to complete the illusion on the ground. Doves have very short legs, so they cannot walk through thick, matted weeds or tall grass to search for seeds. They want clean, bare dirt where they can walk around easily and pick up fallen sunflower seeds, wheat, or milo. Find a wide patch of bare soil, gravel, or disc earth right in front of your hunting spot. Take 6 to 10 full-body ground decoys and place them in small, loose clusters of 2 or 3 birds. Do not line them up in a stiff, straight row like toy soldiers, because real animals never feed that way in nature. Scatter them randomly around your motorized spinner, keeping most of them pointed into the wind, but leaving a completely open circle of bare dirt, about 10 yards wide, right in the middle of the spread. This open gap gives incoming wild doves a clear runway to land without bumping into your fake birds. My fourth tip is to master hunter concealment and shadow management relative to your decoy spread. You can set out the most expensive, highly realistic decoy spread in the state, but if you are standing right next to it wearing bright clothes or shining your watch in the sun, those sharp-eyed doves will spot you and flare away long before they ever get into range. The golden rule of dove hunting is to keep your back to the sun and stay buried deep in the shadows. Position your hunting stool inside the dark shade of a tall brush pile, a mesquite tree, or a standing corn row, looking out toward your decoy spread. Wear camouflage clothing that matches the dry brown and yellow colors of the late summer field, and keep a dark camo face mask or a low-brim hat pulled down over your eyes. Doves have incredible color vision, and the bright pale flash of a human face looking straight up into the sky is the single biggest warning sign in the outdoors. Stay completely frozen in the shade while the birds are approaching. Watch them lock their wings over your decoys, and only shoulder your shotgun when the birds have committed to landing in your pocket. Setting up a smart decoy spread and outsmarting a flock of mourning doves is one of the most satisfying and deeply rewarding traditions in the Texas outdoors. It turns a chaotic morning of guesswork into a beautiful demonstration of true woodcraft, patience, and strategy. Preserving this grand tradition means treating our wild game with ultimate respect, taking the time to search every thicket to retrieve downed birds, and taking proper care of the fields and water holes that support these migratory flocks year after year. Protecting the legacy means bringing our kids, our grandkids, and our neighbors out to the field, sitting together in the shade of an oak tree, and teaching them that being an outdoorsman is about far more than just how many shells you shoot. It is about understanding the land, reading the wind, respecting the game laws, and celebrating the time-honored heritage that makes our home state so special. When you sit back on your stool at the end of the day, watching the warm Texas sun set over a field of golden sunflowers with a cooler full of clean game meat and good memories with your family, you realize how blessed we are to live this life. Set your decoys with pride and enjoy every single second under the big sky. So what do you think of that? Are we right on target, or did we totally miss the boat on that one? Email us at howdy@feedbandit.com and let us know either way. And don't forget to check us out at feedbandit.com and grab some gear to show off your Texas First Outdoors pride. 10% of every purchase gets donated to Texas-focused outdoors causes. This way you can help preserve the tradition and protect the legacy of Texas. And remember, always support your local feed store. If you're there for them, they'll be there for you when you need them the most out in the field. Stand tall, fellow Texie. We'll talk soon.